When we start learning harmonica, we have a lot of preconceptions. I certainly know that I did, and I also know that a lot of these preconceptions probably held me back and stopped me from improving as fast as I wanted to. That said, I do sometimes miss just having fun and not knowing any better. If I could go back in time and tell myself 5 things I wish I'd known earlier, here are those 5 things. Number 1, it's not all about taking solos. So beginner harp players often do absolutely nothing until it's their turn to take a solo. They literally just stand on stage and look a little bit like a lemon because they think that their only role in the band is to take a solo. So they wait for the nod from the band leader. Instead, I wish I told myself to ask myself the question, how do you support the rest of the band when you're not taking a solo? You can do rhythm accompaniment, just some simple chord chugging. Do some bass lines, or you can do some call and response fills with the singer. I said, come on, baby, don't you want to go? I said, come on there, little baby. What can you do other than taking a solo? And if you are a good supporting player in the band, you're more likely to get the nod to take a solo. You know, everyone's got to pull their weight when they're playing in a band. Number 2, custom harmonicas won't magically make you an amazing player. So when I first started playing harmonica, I became obsessed with custom harmonicas. I would spend hours and hours going through the forums, trying to find who the best harmonica customizers were, what harmonica combs I needed, what kind of embossing I needed, etc, etc, etc. And if I had spent all that time practicing, I would have gotten so much better, so much faster. And eventually I discovered, after many years, that almost all of the great pro players that I look up to use out-of-the-box harmonicas. Things like this Hohner Marine Band Deluxe. They don't use custom harmonicas. Very few pro players use custom harmonicas. Some of them do, but not all of them. And there are special use scenarios where it makes sense. But if I had spent less time obsessing about that and more time practicing, I would have got a lot better, a lot faster. Number 3, you don't have to play overblows. So I discovered the overblow term very early on in my playing, and I spent way too much time focusing on playing overblows rather than working on what the harmonica does naturally really well and working on getting good tone. So that meant that I missed out on a lot of the really fun stuff that harmonica does. For example, a lot of harmonica players, when they're playing in second position, will use the blues scale between holes 1 and 6. And then when they get from hole 6 and above, instead of playing the blues scale, which requires overblows and overdraws, they'll quite often switch to the major pentatonic scale, which is really sweet and fun. And that juxtaposition between the two is really cool. I focused way too much on playing overblows, and I missed out on all of that. I missed out on what the harmonica does easily. Number 4. It is worth listening to the classics. So I used to be quite precious about wanting to do my own thing on the instrument, and I didn't bother listening to some old guys who used to play harmonica. You know, people like Little Walter, Sonny Boy Williamson, the first and second, Big Walter, Sonny Terry, Carrie Bell, etc, etc. But once I did start listening to those people, and I was incredibly late to the game, and I mean years and years and years late to the game, I started to learn so much about what the harmonica does and what it does naturally. And learning by transcribing their music has made me a million times better. And there are so many things that I wouldn't have discovered by accident. I wouldn't have discovered all the textural things, all the hand wires, all the tongue flutters, all of the sweet vocalizations that harmonica is so good at without studying the greats and studying classics. That doesn't mean that we shouldn't be striving to push the instrument forward, and that doesn't mean that I don't get my own sound, but I learned so much from listening to the classics, and I wish I'd started listening to the classics earlier. Number 5, don't be snooty about embouchure. So when I first started playing, I did a little bit of research about the different embouchures and discovered tongue blocking and lip pursing, and I felt that tongue blocking was kind of all that the old guys did, and the kind of modern players were all lip pursing and playing fast, overblow, articulated stuff. And so I got really snooty about tongue blocking, and I didn't bother learning it. And I was very focused on lip pursing. And then it was actually when I was doing a workshop with David Barrett, and I was just listening to some of the sounds he was getting and some of the textures that were just so sweet, and they were a lot of tongue blocked textures. And I've kind of delved further into this and discovered that people get really snooty on both sides of the fence. You know, they say that tongue blocking is the only way, or they say that lip pursing is the only way. And actually, when you start talking to really, really accomplished players, to pro players, you'll find out that they do, once again, what is best for the situation that they're in. So they will play some stuff tongue blocked, they will play some stuff lip pursed, and they'll use this hybrid approach. A lot of players will lip purse to play the overblows and to play the blow bends, and they might even lip purse to hit some of the bends down in a lower octave, but then to get those nice tongue block textures, they'll switch to that. So I would tell myself not to be snooty one way or the other. And I'd also maybe warn you about anyone who's snooty full stop about technique. Ask yourself whether they're being musical. That's the number one goal. Okay, thank you so much for watching. I would love if you comment below what you wish that someone had told you when you first started playing harmonica. And don't forget to also hit that little like button, and also subscribe to the channel so you get notified when I upload a new harmonica video. All right, thank you so much for watching. Happy harping.